What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video, another day, another dollar, and today it was raining dollars. At least if you were on the long side, if you were a buyer today, you made money. The only time you lost money is if you shorted this market, and you have failed to realize that we are trying or attempting to break out of balance on our daily, weekly, and potentially our monthly time frame. So, we're going to get into it pretty technical today. I'm going to describe a few setups, a couple nuances, some things you should have looked for today during the trading day. There's a lot to talk about, and I'm gonna try to be quick with it. I'm usually pretty over-explanatory. Like I tend to explain way too in depth, but hopefully it benefits you guys. And I mean, obviously, I watch my own videos, if just to kind of keep me going here and to refresh the brain on what I was thinking. So it's like a live journal for me. And anybody that does watch and sticks around till the end, hopefully you are finding this beneficial. Uh, and this could all everything that I'm doing here in the ES can be applied to equities, just your regular stocks, right? It could all be applied to that as well. Profile is very versatile and can be used in any market. So let's go ahead and get into it, guys. Before we do, please leave a like and comment something nice down below. How's your day? If it was good, let me know down below. All right, so let's go ahead and get right into it. Oh, I'm already messing up. Look at that. So we're going to look at our overnight charts. We're going to look right at, and we're going to get right into our 30-minute time frame. After our 30-minute time frame, if you guys stick around, probably about the 10 to 15-minute mark will be where we get into the larger time frames. If you guys want to skip ahead to that, but right now we're going to look at our 30-minute and 15-minute time frames here, so we can identify what was going on pre-market. So in the overnight session, I'm gonna go ahead and zoom this in here. In the overnight session, we had a lot of chop back and forth, but remained in the upper distribution. And you can see I have that labeled here and I have it marked green. All right. So we stayed and remained within our upper distribution for majority of the overnight session. You can see I have the overnight high marked. Let me zoom this in a little bit more so you guys can see. I have the overnight high marked here in green, because anytime you get above the overnight high, typically it is a bullish indication. And then I have the overnight low marked in red, because usually if you get your overnight low, stops are red, and it is a check mark in the seller's hat, or in the seller's book, right? So and then I have the upper distribution marked. So had we opened up this morning and got down into the lower portion of the upper distribution and gotten the overnight low, you would have gone and filled this set of single prints that you see here, basically where these gaps are, where you just see these candles kind of shooting straight up. Now keep in mind, this is just the 15-minute chart. So in the overnight session, chopped around for a little bit, shot up, set our overnight high, came down, set our overnight low, but dipped our toe right into the set of single prints from the day. Let's push this into a 30-minute time frame so you guys can get a better idea. So you can see where the set of single prints began. So in the overnight session, we pushed into that set of single prints and they held. If you don't think that this market is mechanical and algorithms and short-term traders, kind of dictate what this market's doing, then you have you're probably missing the bigger picture, and you need to understand where these things are marked on your chart. So we now have our parameters, right? We have the most bullish thing going on for us as a buyer. Anybody that was buying late in the day yesterday, whether they were covering their shorts or getting long for the potential break of a higher balance, or a larger balance time frame, then they were doing good, especially in the overnight, right? So they were holding good in the overnight session, holding in the upper distribution. And then we open up in a period, and that's where I'll bring in the other chart here, our normal RTH chart. If you pay attention to the left chart here, we opened up in a period, pushed down, I mean, to the tick almost, right into the single prints and the lower portion of our upper distribution, and couldn't even, I mean, to the tick. We missed it by one tick where the single print started at 64.50. Today's low is at 64.75. That shows that this market is mechanical and that a lot of buyers were stepping in here against that set of single prints and against the overnight low, right? They front ran the overnight low. They held the upper distribution, which was a very bullish indication. And once we got back above the open, this market wanted to attempt to push higher. So because we could not take out the get the overnight low, because we could not break below the upper distribution low and where the single print start here at 64.50, this market was going to attempt to test the day's high or the previous day's high at 41.79. So once you get back above the open, you take a long to go and potentially get the overnight high. Now, I hate that I'm zooming. Now the overnight high was set at 41.8375. The upper distribution is here, and the previous high day is at 41.79. So 83.7. Excuse me. I hope that didn't mess. I just slapped the mess out of my mic. Hopefully that didn't mess with your ears. So we had to get our previous day's high before we got the overnight high. So in A period is a very small range. B period opened up, held the opening. Once again, bullish as long as you can be buying anytime that you're in the upper distribution and using the overnight low or where the single prints start as you're out, right? So once B opened up, pulled back, and once you realized that it was holding the open, you could have taken a long at any point in time to go and get the previous day's high, the overnight high, and to fill this gap here where we had a very small gap that filled at 82.25. So B period pushes up, gets the high of day, so 41.79, boom, out of there. We mark that destination off. Next is the gap fill of 82.25. B continues to push up. We get that. Next thing on the buyer's checklist after breaking out of the high of day here, the previous day's high, was to get the overnight high. And then guess what? B period pushes up straight through 83.75 and buyers get the overnight high. So on our checklist, buyers now have one time framing up, meaning they took out the previous time frame's high, right? So one time framing usually means when you take out a previous time frame's high or a previous time frame's low. So since B period pushed up and took out A period's high, we were one time framing up. We took out the daily high, positive. We got our overnight high, checklist, boom. Next thing on our checklist is to get the initial balance high. Now our initial balance is A period and B period, right? The first two 30-minute time frames, high and low, or the first hour, however you want to look at it. And another thing on the checklist was single prints. Did we start with single prints? So we have one time framing. We now have a set of single prints once C period opened up. And single prints, I'm going to mark here. I'm going to highlight where the single prints initially started, where C opened. So we had a fairly large set of single prints. That is now marked. I'm going to kind of adjust this to where it's not as visible and ugly. We'll do a 50% transparency. But where this box is, that's where the single prints were initially, okay? So basically single prints are initial or an intraday gap, right? That's what they act as, is an intraday gap. So buyers now have one time framing up. They have single prints. They are holding above the open. They got the overnight high. So that's 4 things, right? They took out the previous day's high. So technically 5. Now we're looking to get the initial balance high and to hold the set of single prints. C period pulls back a little bit. So we eat away at the set of single prints just initially. And they start at C's low now. On that pullback, you could have taken a long, right? Better long was above B's high because at that point, the one time frame is going to continue and you have another thing on the checklist. So on the push up, you get above B's high, you take the long, right? You get a couple points out of that. Good. Your next upside destination isn't until 42.06, so you could have stayed long based on this small setup here. So we got our initial balance high. Check, right? So, and we ended up creating a small set of single prints in C period that eventually got filled. But we continue the one time frame up in D period. We continue to one time frame up in E period and then have a reversal bar as we approach the 4200 level, right? 4200 we knew was going to be a very visual area today. We got right up to it and backed off initially, filling that set of single prints in C period. Then in F period, we began to pull back, right? So you have a potential for an afternoon pullback setup, but you wanted to see if we held the single prints, right? F period pulls back, gets into the set of single prints. Now, at this point, you want to wait for either the single prints to fill or we get near the set of single print fill in order for you to take the long position, right? Especially whenever you get a liquidation break kind of like this. So F period pulls back, begins to fill that set of single prints. Now we have less of a gap here to hold against. So, or you wait until the next time frame. So once F pulled back, you could have taken the long around 76 using, just 2 points below A's high using 70 as your out. So you're longing around 76. You're risking 6 points to potentially come back up to the high of day around 99. So you're taking 76 to come up to 99. You're wanting about 25, 30 points to gain versus 6 points on the risk side. So you get long in F period or you get long in G period against F's low, right? You want to see, all right, is that all they wanted to do was just shake out the weak longs? You take the long in G period, you get paid in H a little bit, right? Because essentially you had a wide point of control up here. You were 4 wide at F's high, so you wanted to come back up to F's high to widen that point of control. So mean reversion, right? You take the long in G, you wait it out another time frame, you come up to 90, you take part of your position off to reduce your risk. Now your next target is the high of day. All right. But in H period, we got up to half back and then began to roll over again. Now we still are holding single prints at the time once I period came down, and then we eventually filled it. Now you could have added to your position or taken profits, right, once you came back in, and then re-began your position at a better price around 72 as these single prints, got dwindled and then filled. You take the single print filled long. Another thing to note is right here, right? You came back into the upper distribution from the previous day. Now you want to see if that upper distribution holds. Now you take the long 72, you maybe move your risk down to the open because you're like, all right, out of everything we've had going for us on the day, odds still favor coming up and potentially setting a new high on the day versus a new low on the day. It's all about odds, right? So we pull back in I period. Maybe you're not comfortable taking that long in I period after the single prints fill, but once you opened up in J and seen that you could not take out I's low, you take the long, right? You take the long 74, 75, 76, using 72 as your stop, right? You take that long, thinking I period is going to be an afternoon pullback to rotate back up. So you're risking, 4 or 5 points to the downside. If you take the long in J period against I's low, right? Because stops are going to be there. So had we stopped out, you would have gotten stopped out for a small loss. But you take the long here in J period, right? I'm going to highlight that. So let's just say we took the long around 76, right? Because you're never going to get the bottom. But let's say on the pushback up, you get long around 76. You're looking to come back up to point of control at 90. So good couple points there, 15 points to the upside. You get to F's high, which is where point of control was at 90. You take a part of your position off. Now you're still thinking today's afternoon pullback low holds, right? Your next target is the high of day and then potentially a new high on the day. And Curly, Larry, and Moe, the three stooges, are coming up. So you hold part of your, you get out some of your position here at the point of control. L period opens up. Now, if L period opened up, pulled back and took out K's low, you would exit your position. But because we began to one time frame up again, L period takes out K's high. We rotate up to the highs. You take off another part of your position here. Next, you're looking to see if M period probes, and we go and get and test our balance high on our daily, our weekly time frame, and our monthly time frame. That is ultimately where you would take off the rest of your position if you're a big baller and have big balls to hold. So you wait for M period to open up. You're using L as your ultimate stop out. You still have part of your position on, maybe two contracts left in your arsenal. You ride them out. You hit here, boom. Oh, hold up. You hit that high of day or our weekly balance high, right there. You take off one contract, boom, 208.50. You take off another contract, and you just reaped a tremendous gain, right? It won't let me click. You get out the rest of your position there. So from 76, where you took that position, to 06, I mean, you just made 30 points. 30 points. On a 10 lot MES, you would have made bank, right? 10 lot MES, you would have made bank. 10 lot of the ES, 30 points? Come on. 30 points on a 10 lot? That's 300. You know? That's a great risk reward trade there in J period to come up. I think that is the best setup, especially when you pulled back into the upper distribution from that's why you got to have MGI. That's why you got to know what market profile is. That's why these little nuances help you in your trading day. Now let's say we got long 76 and J period took out eyes low. Things are starting to change, right? Now you're like, all right, we're going to go back and test the open, right? And maybe you take another long position against the open and use the open as your out, but nothing more than that. Once you get below the open, you would have likely gone and filled a set of single prints, and the day would have changed for the worse. So that's how you could have traded today. That's what I would have done had I been trading. But like I said, I've been taking a trading break. I'm not upset that I missed this day. We're going to have, if this market decides to really start to push up and break out of balance on our monthly, weekly, and daily time frames, and we begin to switch all of these time frames to one time framing up, things can get really interesting. This market could go back into a bull market, and where pullbacks, things like that, the market will become easier to read than what we've had over the last 2 months, over the last several months where we've been in this large balance area. So hopefully that helps you guys out, especially when it helps you organize your data when you have your time frames, 30-minute time frame looking like this, right? A through M period. It's very beneficial to organize, and you can take better risk reward trades like that here in J period or in I period, right? Now let's mark our destinations. Okay. Let's mark our destinations. If you've made it to this point of the stream or the video, you're a trooper, and I hope you make tons of money, especially off of a trade setup like an afternoon pullback low. Classic trade setup, one of the best setups in the game, and I think is very beneficial to have in your arsenal. If you took this trade and this trade only, and kept your risk tight, you would be you could definitely make lots of money and be positive on your year. All right, so let's mark our destinations. We got today's low of day. Like I said, this market is very mechanical, 64.75. Once we mark these destinations, we will go look at our larger time frame. So if you guys would like to stick around for that, be my guest. If not, then shame on you. Okay. So there's our low of day. We're going to mark our afternoon pullback low. It's not textbook because we don't have single prints above or below us, but we're going to mark an afternoon pullback low here. As the market changes, you got to change with the market, and this is something that's been occurring more recently. Is we've been filling single prints instead of holding them and having an afternoon pullback low in that sense. So we got our afternoon pullback low here at 72.40. Oh, 72.50 is what I should be having here. 72.50 is our afternoon pullback low. Next, we have, is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Okay, so not wide enough to really matter. We have our price probe above E's high. So price probe, so that's when the market probed, right? Change took place there above E's high. That's where M period spiked up really quickly. So 99.25. And something to note is we blew straight through the 200 level, the 4,200 level. We didn't spend any time trading there. So could that be a positive nuance, or will we come back and fill out some volume in that range? Who knows? Right now, we are attempting to break out of balance on our weekly and our monthly time frames. Next, we have our high of day. Oh, I forgot to label this. This is our price probe. Price probe. Next, we have M's high of day. And now the most positive thing for buyers is to open above the price probe, whether that be with a gap or open up inside M's range, test it and stay above it, and then rotate higher. That is a positive sign for buyers. That's what we want to see as a buyer. There's our high of day. So I'm out of destinations on this contract for us. So if you want destinations, we'll have to look at the larger time frame to get that. But Jesus, I hate when I do that. But as far as destinations go for us today, on the downside, we have our price probe at 41.99.25. We get below that, you have a vacuum down to 41.72.50 afternoon pullback low. You potentially could chop around inside that 72.50 to 99 range. You get below 72.50, you will go test the low of day at 64.75. Single prints where they start at 64.50 and they fill at 48.75. For the upside, 42.15.50, today's high of day. You want to get above that and get going. I do not have any destinations for the upside at the moment due to the contract change. Now, let's look at our larger time frame. And I know this video is one of the longer videos, but it is very important that you guys understand everything about today. So right now we're looking at our monthly time frame. And we are attempting to come out to the upside. We are attempting to break above balance. 42.0850 was that balance high. We get above 42.0850. Your next upside target from the monthly standpoint is 43.2750. There's nothing in our way to get there. So 4,300, 43.2750 is our next target, which is my ultimate larger balance, right? The secondary balance, if you will. Primary balance was the 42.0850, the 37.8850 range. We are looking to break out of balance and get this monthly one-time framing up. Now our weekly, we are coming out of an inside week to the upside, or at least attempting to come out of an inside week to the upside. Right? We had an inside week initially. We're looking to come out of an inside week to the upside and break above that monthly balance and our weekly balance high. So tomorrow, if we close above 42.0625, I will call the weekly one-time framing up. The weekly will be up officially. Daily, looking to break out of that secondary balance, right? And we have officially broke out of my 77.25 balance. So the daily is officially one-time framing up for me. I'm going to say the daily's one-time framing up. The weekly would have to get above 42.0625 and close above it for me to say that the weekly is one-time framing up. But however, the weekly is one time framing up with roughly a week, 2 weeks left in the trading month. For the month, this market could really start to get some legs to the upside. And then let's just quickly look at what I had as my daily balance. Daily balance firmly breaking above my daily balance. We are one time framing up with confirmation. Volume today, really good volume, above average or right at average. Your next upside destination from a daily standpoint would be this gap fill here at 2075. Gap fill at 2075 from that day. So I'm gonna mark that real quick so I don't forget. There's a gap there. So we've just missed filling our gap here. 20, 42, 20, 75. Gap fill. So right there, gap fill 42.20, 75. And above that, you have the next daily high at 42.61.75. This market is looking up, baby. This market's looking up. If you stuck around, guys, if you stuck around, I truly appreciate you hanging out with me. I hope this video was very beneficial to you guys, as that it does help me. Hopefully it helps you guys. If you made it this far, please leave a like down below. Let me know you made it this far. Comment down below if you thought the breakdown was good. The feedback definitely helps me and gives me confidence in these videos. We'll catch you guys in the next one. We'll see how we close out tomorrow. Reminder, next week I will not be around. I will be on vacation, so I will stay away from the charts. Thanks again, everybody. See ya.